Yesterday, we heard that the Jamaica Labour Party government did not present itself at the United Nations to vote in favor of a resolution supporting the Palestinian people in their struggle, in the humanitarian catastrophe unfolding on them in Gaza. And I say shame on the Jamaica Labour Party government for that. You turned your back on Venezuela when Venezuela has been the most generous country in terms of support for Jamaica through the Petro-Caribbean Accord. And now that America is freeing up the thing for Venezuela again, Jamaica out in the cold. And you turn your back on the Palestinian people as well. And one wrong followed by another wrong. Two wrong don't make a right. And we can't support the collective agony being visited on the Palestinian people by Israel at this time. Jamaica should have been present to show the Palestinian and the world that we support justice. And by them not being present, it was a disgrace and a blot on our national record, our foreign policy record of this country. Comrades,
is it the PNP position, leader, that there should be support for the Palestinian people?
Oh, yes, of course. We have always supported the struggle of the Palestinian people. And that is not because we're anti-Israel. We're not anti-Israel. We recognize Israel's right to exist. But the way in which the Palestinians have been treated in that part of the world is absolutely terrible. And you know, they have had to be moved off their lands, and even lands that were supposed to be allocated to them as part of the two-state solution. Israel has been intent in settling people there, and those settlers have committed all sorts of violent acts against the Palestinian population. And in Gaza, which is a crammed 2 million people in a very small space of time, the living conditions are terrible. And now they're going through the most horrific experience of bombing. And you see, listen, I'm all in favor of Israel defending themselves. What happened on the 7th of October was an atrocious act, a despicable act of violence against civilians, and we condemn it to the max. But the response must be proportionate, and it must be tailored and targeted at the wrongdoers, not at the civilian population of Palestine. We do not support what is happening there now. Thousands of children are being killed in those airstrikes, and the conditions of life with the blockade, so there's no electricity, there's no water, food isn't going in there. I mean, this is totally wrong. And I really just feel that for Jamaica not to have voted in support of that resolution today is a very shameful day for our country. You know, as a Jamaican, I feel not only disappointed, I feel embarrassed that our country would take themselves away from that. And I don't accept the excuses of the minister. They deliberately absented themselves from the UN Assembly. And so they didn't vote for it. And it's an awful, awful thing that has happened.
How you think this will, will affect Jamaica? How you think this will affect, Jamaica, reputation international-wise,
Well, the vast majority of the country of the world supported the resolution. So Jamaica, which has always played a prominent role on the world stage for a small country like us, we led the fight against apartheid. From Daddy Manley's time, we were the first country in the Western Hemisphere to impose a boycott on apartheid South Africa. And in the Michael Manley era, he was fully supportive of the struggle to rid South Africa of apartheid, the struggle for independence in Zimbabwe, which was then Rhodesia. So we have a long history of supporting movements that are seeking to manage their own affairs. And the Palestinians have that right too. And so from my point of view, what has happened today is not going to make us look anything other than like a country that has lost its way. I think a lot of Jamaicans are very disappointed and feel shame by what has happened, quite frankly. And I don't know, I mean, the government has to do something about it. They have to redeem our image by doing the right thing.